So I'm tinkling a bell. It's just about 8. I'm knocking on the little window that's kind of an eye view in the middle of Ray's front door. There's a snapshot of one of the dogs that died there. And when you knock, Ray usually lifts the snapshot of the dog so you can see his face, which is just like the snapshot of the dog. So I'm knocking, and I realise I'm knocking softly because the gloves are so thick. So instead of this to which I'd hear, Mick O'Dowd, and I'd usually say, alive and well. I'd been seeing a lot of Ray lately, maybe 3 and 4 times a day, because I knew he seemed to be getting ill. There was a couple of times a couple of months ago when he actually looked spooked. And Ray has been such a sort of monument of optimistic, forceful love or joy of whatever would happen next, that everybody was taken completely by surprise by the most recent event, because it was like, anybody could go, but Ray, he was like one of these guys that didn't die. Ka-ching, ka-ching. So you can imagine, I'm just letting the music go on because I'm slipping into this plane that extends beyond the horizon somewhere, especially with the infinite bells going on. And I'm thinking I'd be back around there towards the end of the afternoon. But I'm going to wait and listen to it probably again, being a sort of a 45-minute thing, which, a zillion bells end ding, right on cue. Beautiful. And as he's lying there, all 4 limbs begin to rise straight, all the way up and vertical. And as they get vertical, he's like a dog or something on its back with all 4 limbs frozen in the air, trying to get longer. And then they stay rigid and straight up. And of course, by now, I'm definitely looking for body fluids spilling out. But they're still just shadows. So I'm still wondering if this is it or not. So after that, the legs, all 4 limbs still stretched out, lower, like he's doing some kind of asana. And as they lower down to the bed and he becomes on a flat plane again, the whole line of his body, from his head down to his toes, is like a piece of elastic trying to stretch itself out as long as it possibly can, therefore as straight, therefore as stiff, therefore as tense, therefore vibrating. And so there's this, he must have gained about 6 inches just that second. And he's stretching out, and his feet are stretching out, and even his hands, the fingers are all pointed out straight, as if this is the pose of the asana or something. Well, by then, the feet that are stretched out, pointing, begin to actually form fists slowly, like a parrot's foot round a bar or a perch. They form fists, and his hands form fists, and they kind of sit up and writhe for a little bit, these fists. It's almost unbelievable to see them, because you just never see an opposing heel, or I never have until then, and they were opposing heels. Well, by then, everything just begins to relax, and the legs go back down, and the arms go back down, and everything's got extremely quiet. So I'm listening to his chest again, and I still can't hear a thing. And I got my ear and face and wet lips and eyes over his mouth and nose in case there's any detectable breeze. And I'm still whacking him and calling out his name and looking into his eyes, but he's left already, I'm sure of it. So the lighthouse is a golden lighthouse, more or less the height of the paint surface. From either side, extending to either side of the painted surface, are rays of light beaming out into what one would guess is the night. And the entire length of the bottom edge of the painting is this unbelievably writhing sea that's writhing mythic style, as opposed to storm style. And each separate wave is like a snake or a sea snake or one of those gymnastic silks that leave residual pattern and flow forms in the air as the gymnast continues after it. Ray, beam, transmission, ray of light. A ray, I was thinking, doesn't have an end. It's just a movement in a direction, I guess, of some kind of light. Although there are many other kinds of rays, I guess. But this ray of light, a panoramic ray, it would suggest, in 360 degrees, would actually be an expanding plane of light. And in 3D, an expanding ball of light, like in the sun, or a sun. And 4D, and 5D, and so on into the core of the infinitely expanding universe. And then you go back to Ray's brushstrokes and everything is scintillating in this veil of blue and white and gold. And the ray of light, if he's died or if he's left this physical form, because obviously I've just showed up to be the perfect appreciative audience for this particular show, and he left the building. And there's a ray-sized painting of a fish. It's another self-portrait, I guess. Which of course provokes the chorus. Hey Ray, what do you say? What's so? And of course, you know that the light is going, Mick, oh doubt. And of course, I'm silently going, alive and well. The ray of light.